Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, thank you for joining our presentation. My name is Fachrunisa Azziza and my partner, Ms. Lutfi Rahmatuti Makfiro. We are from Polytechnic Statistika STIS. First of all, I'd like to introduce our journal. The title is Development for Student Character Achievement Index Web using Combination Method of Rational Unified Process and Goal-Directed Design. Our aim is to develop of SCI web with rational unified process as system development method and goal-directed design as a user interface analysis method. You will see that we will discuss about introduction, problem statement, theory, methodology, result, and last is conclusion. We are going to introduction. Badan Pusat Statistik or BPS has a vision to be a provider of qualified statistical data for advanced Indonesia. Core value of BPS are professional, integrity, and trust. In building this character, BPS through Polytechnic Statistika STIS has carried out several efforts such as participating in activities, organization, and so on. To facilitate monitoring of the implementation of character development, Polytechnic Statistika STIS use an indicator called Student Character Achievement Index. In another, there is leadership perspective is an alternative indicator that students can get this with active in their organization. To well organize it, we use SCIA web. In the implementation, there are several problems of the web. We take several interviews and use survey for search the problem. We partition into two different problems. Problem for whole system and the user interface. The first is the database has not integrated with the Sipado database. The effect can be found at the authentication that done separately from student accounts and it must have more space being required for storage. Other impact is in the violation record that data must be inserted manually from Sipado SAS database to SCIA database. The second, activation of parameters that include dimension, category, and subcategory cannot handle the change dynamically. In previous web version, administrators could not change the parameter based on years, class, or another factor freely. The third, processing SCIA start from adding submission to results. But the processing SCIA application, it's not all computerized well. For example, the submission have been well computerized, but calculation still manually. The fourth, submission for structured organizations still take a longer time, and the assessment of leadership perspective don't match with stakeholders' willing yet. And the last is the result is not presented in detail, both in student character achievement index and leadership perspective. The next problem, for the user interface, we use user interface survey for 100 respondents. The procedure are, at first, we filter based on school civil has been used web, and then the second, we survey based on usability with Turner heuristic survey. From 100 respondents, we can see that a half have been used SCI web, and the usability, the result shows that user interface has total score at 65.5%. Based on Turner documentation, it means that the user must have a deep understanding of the use system. So, we try to make another user interface design to compare the last. The theory is come from several references. Based on guidebook of Student Character Achievement Index, SCIS is the measure of student character achievement that consists of 5 dimensions that are leadership, discipline, individual competence, social life, and the development of interest and creativity. For the leadership perspective, we take from Mr. Wahyudin's explanation as a stakeholder. He says, leadership perspective becomes an alternative consideration in the final decision of the SCIA. Sabaria says, a good user interface design is an indicator to make users feel interest in using application. For sure, Alan Dick said the human communication interaction can be used to make it easier for humans to interact with computer. Rational unified process based on rules in the journal said is an object-oriented and web system development methodology that consists of 4 stages that are inception, elaboration, construction, and transition. Goal-directed design, based on Prasojo et al., said that design methods that make it easier for designers to understand what user wants, and doubly said that the goal-directed design, the goal is defined as the final condition to be achieved. Cooper mentioned the goal-directed design is the part of the user-centered design. In the methodology, Halkosari et al. Make the pace of user interface analysis not follow goal-directed design pace like Cooper explained perfectly, but the pace involves activities at each stage that occur. It said with following the requirement of their research. Besides that, Sabale and Dani in their journal explained that rational unified process can support user interface analysis and also complete documentation. In another concept, Wahid introduced the concept that we can develop systems based on requirement of its research. The method can be combined by another supporting method for get efficient and well result. So, we use both methods. You can see, the left side is the whole page of our research, the right side is the explanation what we do or what we get from the step. In the collecting data, we have two databases that are SGIA database and CIPADO database. CIPADO database is the main database of Polytechnic Statistica SAS that consists of account, student, and transcript of their study. To get more information, we use interview to stakeholder and administrator, questionnaire to survey the student and organization. The user interface analysis with goal-directed design starts from collecting data, identification user, structure analysis, until implementation to user interface web design. While we analyze the user interface intentionally, we also solve the problem of process of system. With rational unified process, we make documentation that can be easily for develop this web. We start the pace from flow of the process, make web, remake the user interface based on result, goal-directed design, under deploy and evaluation web in transition process. For testing method, we use several tests that are for interface testing. We use evaluation on usability and evaluation implementation feature to take user satisfaction with the feature. For the system, we take SOS, black box testing, user acceptance testing, compatibility to web browser testing, and performance testing. This is an example of monitoring result for our SCIA proposal. Based on user identification and analysis structure, the feature obtained are homepage that to get overview of application and important information for user, management of parameter that consists of dimension, category, and subcategory, organization account, manage submission to manage SCIA application, organizational structure, internal activities or organizational competition, and the last is management leadership perspective. With the questionnaire for tuner usability survey in the beginning, we can take 10 category recommendations for user interface that are feature and functionality, homepage, navigation, search, control and feedback, form, error, content and text, help, and performance. You can see the recommendation in the slide. For the evaluation, the result is based on evaluation of the user interface usability. The result is 79.776%. It means that user must be able to use the site or system with relatively easy and must be able to complete most of the important tasks. This result is higher than preliminary survey in 65.5%. Based on testing the implementation of features against survey user objective, user satisfaction is in 84.5%. Procedure documentation state this means that users are satisfied with existing features. And then based on SUS test, the results were obtained so that the web could be accepted. And based on black box testing, it is known that the system developed can run the function as expected. Based on compatibility test, SCIA web used in various engines. And then the performance test. For performance test, the testing used page speed grade. It shows that average overall performance score of 88.27 that in grade B categories. And obtain access speed using GTmetrix 30 seconds per page. The Nielsen said the web will be good if the load time is at least less than 10 seconds. Therefore, it can be concluded that the proposed SCIA web has fulfilled with performance characteristics. Based on user acceptance testing, it is known that SCIA will display in interesting. Summary: the web system can be recommended for the proposed SCIA web system, and for suggestion, you can make another project with another scope and take a test for feature combination method effectiveness, and also make a mobile application if it's applicable. For the last, that's all from us. Thank you for your attention. I'm sorry for the lack of pronunciation. If anyone has question, feel free to ask. I will do my best to answer it. For closing our presentation, I would like to finish with a quote from Imam Ali that said, "A little knowledge removes a lot of ignorance, and knowledge needs action." Thank you and see you for the next meeting. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.